We're now going to look at lino printing. Lino printing is another form of relief printing. We have a block, which is lino, and this lino block, I've already drawn my image. I'll talk to you about the image in a minute or two. But thinking about the resources, we've got our block, we've got our bench hook, which is a key risk assessment factor. So one of the riskiest things with lino is to actually cut through your fingers. The bench hook you'll see in a minute will stop that happening. We've also got a range of lino cutting tools, and these are of a range of different thicknesses, and I'll be using those as you see when I make my lino block. Also got a range of inks which I'll be mixing up to print off the lino block. Now, also thinking about resources, we've got visual resources for this activity, and again these are taken from a combination of the Ethiopian sketchbook and photographs that I took. So I took a sketch from my original photograph, stylizing to some extent, simplifying the image, and then used tracing paper to trace the image off. I also added to this image the Ethiopian crosses, which occur everywhere. It's another symbol, rather like the umbrellas that you see everywhere, and the colours you can see, which I'm going to use in this series of 2 lino prints, the white, the red, yellow and black. This print is going to be black, and I'll now take you through the stages of using the lino cutting tools to get an image. So initially I want a fine tool. Some of these areas I'm going to be cutting away quite a bit, but I start with a fine tool and make sure that the bench hook is tight into the bench, and always cut away, always keep your hand behind the tool. So cutting away from yourself, and if your hand slips, it will go into the board, not into your hand. If I want larger cuts, I can use a tool that gives me a stronger cut. I might need to turn the block around, but always make sure that you are still cutting into the block. Sometimes it's quite useful just to cut the shape. So if I wanted to remove this area here, I cut it out, and then with the deeper tool it levers out because I've already cut a line and cut the shape. Okay, that print, that block, would take me quite a number of hours to cut. I can tell you that because here's one I did earlier. I could make this into a 3, 4, 10 colour print if I wanted to, by gradually cutting away. Remember, cut out and keep. And I will be doing that with a smaller print, but with this one, to start with, I'm just going to print it as a black and white print. So we have a printing press here, and first off you can see it's a set of rollers, mechanised set of rollers, which we turn to move the plate through on the bed of the press. Now, there are obviously some very distinctive health and safety issues here. If you've got long hair, do have your hair tied back. You don't want to get your hair caught in the rollers. Also, it's very important that you don't get your fingers caught in the rollers. You are actually in control of it, but nevertheless you've got to be aware of other people's fingers too, and just really one person on the press at a time. So I've laid my lino block on the bed of the press, and I've marked it off so that I know that I can add the paper and it will be centered up on the paper. So I'm just going to add the paper there. I'm going to put another layer of newsprint, and that is just to protect the blanket and the press, and I'm going to turn that through. I'm just going to hold it gently in place while I start the press through. Now you want, for lino, you want the press to be biting fairly firmly, and it's just hit the edge of the lino there. You can feel that hitting the edge. That is set at 4.35. We've put rulers on the edge of the press to help you. We'll find out when we look whether it's gone through firmly enough. If not, we can put it through again. That looks a good print, so I'm going to turn it right through. Another way. We've got a good print. So, I'm thinking about colours inspired by these Ethiopian paintings. They're done on goat skin and they're created all with these faces, the eyes, the characteristic look of Ethiopian art. And the paintings are created in schools, often linked with churches, and young people are trained to create this, to keep the tradition alive. In fact, contemporary art exists in Ethiopia, but not to the extent of the traditional form of painting, which is still very, very popular. So I'm going for a kind of ochre shade. I've just created quite a strong line drawing to start with, and I will be cutting away some bold shapes, adding more layers of colour. From here, by adding the colour, sometimes the image will appear and you can see if more needs to be done. See, there's some points where the image is filled in. I should do the first print. Okay, and if I wanted to, I could then go on adding layers, cutting away and adding more layers.